Hey YouTube family, how are you guys? I'm back with another video just as promised. This is Mysteriously Divine. I'm so happy to be back. Just as promised yesterday, I made my first video after a year and a half. I know you guys have been wondering where I've been, what happened to me. I made a few videos and then I didn't come back. So yesterday was my first video in a year and a half, guys, and I'm so excited to be back here just as promised yesterday, making this video for you guys, which I love so much. This video today is going to be regarding my ex-narcissistic friend and her betrayal towards me, which was one of the first reasons out of a few different reasons as to why I have been gone from YouTube and how difficult that entire experience has been for me. So I'm here with a story time for you guys about the situation so you guys can know what happened and how it affected me throughout this past year. So to start, guys, this friendship with this particular person is very old. Me and her were friends for about 20 plus years, guys. Yes, long time. And to experience a betrayal from someone who you considered more than a friend, a sister, a confidant, is devastating. It was devastating to me in so many different ways because you would never expect something like that from someone who you know for so many years, who you share so many experiences with, so many things with. It was extremely difficult. Well, me and her go way back to maybe 9, 10 years old. We're both 31, we're the same age. And yeah, I would say it started right then. It started when we were children. I would always sense, this great admiration from her towards me. It was something very juvenile. It was very innocent. I didn't feel any type of, darkness. Obviously, we were children. There was no evil intent. It was something very, very nice. It was kind of cute to me at the time when we were younger, and I would see her, how much she admired me, how much she wanted to, have the things I had and be like me. And it was cute. I always saw her as like, I used to tell myself, oh, she really admires me. From a very early age, I would remember my mom would buy me something and she would have to have it right away. She would make her mother literally buy her the same things that I had. It got to the point that my mom would buy me some sneakers, my mom would buy me some jeans, my mom would buy me a shirt, and like a week later she would have the same exact things as me. Obviously, when you're a child, that's not a big deal. I used to look at it like, who cares? We all admire someone, and I just so happened to be someone who I feel at the time she was admiring me. I feel like things started getting creepy once we started becoming teenagers because this admiration started to become very uncomfortable for me. It was something that I felt like I had a shadow over me. Like I just couldn't be this unique person that I was because I felt like everything I did was being overshadowed by her. If I would get a certain hair color, she wanted that certain hair color. If I would speak a certain way, she tried to speak like me. If I would do certain things, she tried to do the same things. And it was just like, I never felt like she had her own personality because it seemed as if she was just taking from different people bits and pieces of things that she liked in other people and was creating this person that she would be. And then a lot of the things that she would just, do that I would do. It was just something that it became so uncomfortable to me at one point that I remember talking to my mother about this, and even she noticed before I even mentioned it to her. My mother noticed before I even told her anything. She was like, wow, yeah, I noticed. Every time you have something, I see her and she has the same things that I buy. Well, things started getting really bad once we became, in our late teens and we started dating. Because obviously that's when we're growing up, we're starting to have crushes, things are changing, our bodies are changing, and that's around the time that I noticed this weird behavior coming from her, because there was this one particular time, and I would say this was when it all started, that one of my mother's friend's sons, he had a huge crush on me. I never liked this kid, so in order to get him off of my back, I wanted to introduce him to her, because she's also a very pretty girl. She was single. We were in our late teens, innocent stuff. And because he was so sweet to me and so nice to me, I thought, he's a great guy for, my friend. Because he seems to be super nice to me, but as we all know, most guys are nice to the women they want. But it's not the same story when they kind of don't want the person. But, innocent me, what did I know? I thought to myself, I should introduce them. Well, guys, it just so happened that this guy ended up being like her worst heartbreak. They ended up kicking it off, ended up dating, and he ended up doing her super dirty. And then I was feeling extremely guilty about that because I introduced them. But what did I know, at the time, being a teenager, that something like that would take place. I was very taken care of. I was very pampered as a child or as a teenager. I wasn't allowed to go out. I wasn't allowed to do anything, basically. I was very protected, overly protected, I would say. So I didn't know that, they were on a different level than me. Her parents used to let her go out. They used to let her party. They used to let her do things I wasn't allowed to do. So I wasn't doing the things, other kids were doing my age around the time. So I guess their relationship had gotten very deep where things occurred. And that's why it was so toxic. And I just couldn't understand at the time. But being that he was so in love with me, I feel like this is what caused her jealousy to start. The fact that the man that, well, he wasn't even a man, but the guy she loved so much was crushing on me. So if we add that on top of the admiration that she already kind of felt towards me, I would say that it made her feel inferior to herself, even though this is false, as we know, no one's better than anyone, but this is how her mind, I guess, was taking or processing all this. And I noticed that one day after I, opened up to her about the fact that he used to declare his feelings for me, even after he was with her, and I had to put him in his place and cut him off because of that. I actually opened up to this about her, and I told her because it was bothering me to see her suffering over him. And ever since that day, guys, and the reason I'm bringing all this up is because that was the time where it stemmed, and I noticed the changes of her towards me. This is when I noticed her, once I opened up to her about this is when I noticed changes in her towards me. The competitiveness started, the weird looks towards me. She wanted to be like me, but it became I started to notice a shift where it wasn't admiration anymore, but it was kind of like a slight competitiveness. But because it was just starting, we were literally in our early 20s by then, it wasn't as severe as it started getting in time, but I did feel that competitiveness and that those weird looks towards me. I feel like one of the first ways I started noticing the hate of her towards me was when we would have arguments and falling out. She would literally tell me the most hurtful, guys, I am talking about destructive, hurtful words. She would make me cry. She would break down my spirit just by the evil things that she would say to me and moments of anger. And I would just be sitting there like, we had a disagreement. It wasn't that serious. Why are you talking to me this way? You know what I'm saying? She would destroy me. Bring out things about me that I opened up to her about, things that were really painful to me. And she would just blurt them out in front of people out of anger because we had a little disagreement where I got her angry. And it was in those moments that I said to myself, this is not right. I don't care how angry you are. These are private things that we spoke about. How dare you air my stuff out of anger in front of people? Things that were so extremely private to me. Guys, how can I even start to even explain what happened after? After that, I started to feel that she was kind of coming for me, coming for my security, coming for my confidence and my spirit. This happened, I would say, after I had my daughter. I had my first daughter at 23, and I've always been a very thin person. This is just the way my body is shaped. I was very thin, and my pregnancy just made me lose even more weight. I lost even more weight after I had my daughter, and it was a very difficult time for me. My self-esteem got really hit after that pregnancy because of how much weight I lost and how uncomfortable I was being so thin. I remember when she had her son 2 years before I had my daughter. She was about 19, 20 years old when she got pregnant. And I remember how insecure she felt about her body. And I would always uplift her. I would tell her, you're beautiful. You don't have to feel bad about that. You're still gorgeous. Don't worry. She used to tell me she wanted to get her body done. And I said, that's fine if that's what you want. But don't feel like it's an emergency. You look great. Well, flip it to my pregnancy and my insecurities I was dealing with after my daughter. She ended up going to get her body done to DR, and she comes back and her body was beautiful. They left her like a Barbie. And to my surprise, she just turned into a completely different person, and I feel like the surgery just was like the cherry on top for her, because that's when she finally felt, at least for a while, that her confidence was up. So now she thought to herself, now it's time for us to compete. Guys, when I tell you, this woman used to look at me like I was the scum of the earth. She used to look at me like this. Disgusted. Like, literally, she would break my spirit down. And I was over here feeling like crap because I was so thin and so insecure, and I was dealing with so many things, being a first-time mom. And she would literally look at me and tell me, you look sick. You need to eat. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with your body? Guys, I kid you not. This was the most heartbreaking thing. I would cry. I was depressed. I would feel so uncomfortable when we go out. And she was just enjoying this, guys. She was savoring it. Every time she would see me, feeling bad about myself, and she's over here in her best moment, making me feel like I was crap, giving me these looks, competing with me. It was just like the most weird, crazy experience, and that's the moment that I realized this woman hates me. It's like the surgery activated the Jezebel spirit in her, or that evil girl, mean girl spirit, because she finally felt like she was a bad bee, and it gave her that confidence. While my confidence was broken down, me being this happy, confident girl that I always was, and seeing me at that state caused her ego to boost, and instead of lifting me up like I did her, she stepped all over me. So fast forward a little bit more, I had a second daughter, but my second daughter kind of changed my body. It was a little bit better. I was getting my weight up a little bit. My confidence was coming up. I had a decent job at the time. So I was feeling really good about myself, and I felt my confidence coming back up, and I was feeling good. Guys, when I tell you that when she saw my confidence coming up again, she started to hate me. I noticed that she started to look at me weird. And this is where it got crazier, because she started to feel jealous with me and her husband. I was by myself at the time. I was no longer with my kid's father. So every time I would come over her house, she would be uncomfortable with me there. And I am the most respectful person ever. I know her husband and her since before they got together. So it's just like weird to me that, she was feeling jealous of me being around. I would notice these weird looks from her. One day we went out to a party, and she couldn't drink because she was on medication. And what happened, guys, was that when we got out of the party, me and her husband being the only ones that drank, she just had this fit. I don't know what she was seeing, but I remember living across the street from her at the time. Guys, when we got home, she parked the car. She literally followed me to my house. She was sober. She followed me to my house, followed me up the stairs at 4 in the morning, woke up my babies, woke up my mother, and just literally went off on me. Started pushing me, fighting with her husband, having it's like she was delusional or something. I don't know what was wrong with her, but she made a huge scene in where we almost got physical. She pushed me, started telling me a whole bunch of things. So because I was so angry at what she was doing, because she literally woke up my family, and I had neighbors, I was renting, it wasn't my house. It was so disrespectful. I opened my mouth and I was like, you know what? I know a lot of things about you that you've done incorrectly, that if I open my mouth, we're going to see who's really the ruler. Because I can't believe you're trying to make me look like I'm a husband stealer or disrespectful woman. You know me. I'm over here telling her, you know the type of person that I am. I would never look at a taken man. And you're my best friend. Why the hell would you even feel jealous with me over your husband? Guys, she grabbed him so quick and left, because she knew this girl's drunk. If she starts to speak things that are incorrect, it's going to get ugly. Well, that was the day that I noticed this isn't good. Things are getting bad here. After that fight, she literally pushed me and I fell. That's when I noticed, and my mother told me, Shami, this girl hates you. She hates you. What I saw, what I witnessed in my house last night was hate. Just after today, put in your mind that this girl is your enemy. That she is your enemy. You can hang around her if you want, but don't forget that. Guys, it's really hard to cut off a friend that you've known for so many years, because although I'm telling you the negative things, we did have good moments. We were there for each other in very difficult times. We cried together, we supported each other. And when you have this balance of good and bad, it is so difficult to end a friendship, just as it is to end a marriage. That's basically what we were, soulmates, just in friend way. It's so difficult. A part of me was devastated by all the things that I tolerated from this girl, because I'm only telling you guys bits and pieces of so many things that she did to me. I'm talking about evil looks, petty shade, consistent shade. This was every other week. From her and her mother, because her mother was also in on it. I don't know what they had against me. I feel like her mother kind of always knew that I had all these talents and I was so intelligent and I had so many things to offer that her daughter lacked. And this caused her mother to feel this sort of like envy, because every time we would be around people, people would always come for me and tell me, wow, you're this, you're that, you're this, you're that. And no matter how good of her, her daughter's talents were, it seemed like they were always overshadowed by mine. And I feel like this kind of caused this sort of like jealousy, third party jealousy from her mother towards me. And it was so weird because my mother never felt that way over her daughter. Like my mother always loved my friend and treated her like a daughter, but it was different towards me. I was getting the short end of the stick from her family. Well, her mother to be precise. And guys, I have never felt so hurt, And as time went by, as the years went by, things would just get worse and worse. It got to the point where we didn't speak for like almost a year after that. And our friendship kind of went back together. But I noticed that when we tried to make our friendship work again, she obviously regretted doing what she did, because then I guess after she cooled down, she noticed, this girl would never look at another woman's man, let alone my husband. And she cooled down. But guys, when you have a falling out with someone and that person wants to come back into your life, you need to be very careful when accepting people back in your life, because I didn't notice at the time that she probably wasn't coming back into the friendship with good intentions. And she was coming into the friendship with negative intentions, while I'm over here thinking, she feels ashamed. She wants to be friends again. And it just ended up being the complete opposite. The little did I know that she was coming back into her friendship with revenge after the break. And I'm over here loving, empaths were people that were very forgiving. We always try to look at the good side of people. We try to look at their best self. We try to look at the positive. And this girl was not coming in with positive intentions, because things just got worse. I remember things started getting really bad in my life. My luck was really, iffy. And things were just weird, but I didn't think anything of it, I would just be like, it's life, things happen. I would never expect it to be something bad. It wasn't until I went to get divination done, and the babalawo that I went to see told me, you're gonna have a friend that's gonna betray you, a friend that's like a sister, and this person's very, very envious of you, and it's gonna happen. I didn't take it as anything serious. Obviously, I thought about her because I knew all the things that I was dealing with from her for years, but I thought to myself, it can't be that bad. Not everything we see manifest. Sometimes we can change things. That's what I thought, because I loved her. Despite her issues, she was a sister to me. That's how I saw her, but little did I know she didn't see me the same way. Her love towards me was conditional, and it was also competitive. And it wasn't until after that I noticed that she just wanted me around because I was her inspiration. She used to try to talk like me. I'm a person that I love to study, and I know so many things, and I research a lot of things, and she used to love to take my information and then say it forward as if it were hers. She would take my style, she would literally copy all of my ideas and try to beat me at everything and try to have everything. She was in a competition while I'm over here having this nice friendship. If I would buy a car, she had to have the same car that I had. If when she started seeing me progressing in life and things started getting better in my life, she wanted to compete. This is when she got pissed. When she started to see my life progressing and moving forward, this is when she got on the attack mode. Because I feel like she was always kind of in a better position than me, and she enjoyed that. And she made her feel good. It made her feel good knowing that I needed her, that I was under her, if we can say economically or socially. And I'm the kind of person that I'm very humble. Material things don't make me or break me. If I have it, good. If I don't, I'll still be this happy person and positive person, because I'm grateful to be alive in general, and just to be, having what I have. I have health. I have other things to be grateful for. But some people don't think this way. Some people just look at the material things and the material aspects of everything and think I'm better. So she would get mad because she would see that no matter what, I was always happy, always positive, always smiling, doing my thing. And some people just don't understand that it's not about material things. If you're not happy with a little bit, you're not going to be happy with a lot. Happiness comes from inside. It doesn't come from the things you have. And I guess this was something that she didn't understand, or probably still doesn't. Well, guys, when my life started progressing, when I hit my moment, and I started getting a better job, I started going on vacation, things started changing for me. I was extremely happy. I was glowing, happy, shining. One of my best moments that I had experienced in a while. This is when I guess she said to herself, this is the last straw for me. I can't take her shine. Guys, when I tell you, this woman just literally started giving me dirty looks in my face. She wasn't hiding the hate no more. I'm talking about, she said to herself, it's on. And I'm over here like confused, like what's going on? And in her mind, she's like, oh, she wants to compete? We're gonna compete. People that have sort of like this mental, I'm talking about like narcissists, because I consider her a narcissist, that mental issue where they see a competition where there isn't. When you're over here trying to be better, I'm over here trying to be better than I was yesterday, to have a better life for my daughters. And she's seeing me as competition. So I'm competing with my old self, and she's competing with me. If I have a car, she needs to have a better car than me. If I have this, she needs to have it better. So I guess at the moment when I was doing good, she felt as if she was beneath me for the first time. And that was the last straw for her. So I started seeing a lot of, things changing out of nowhere. A few months after that, I started sensing a lot of negative energy in my home. Things were just off. And I'm like, something is weird. I'm an empath, guys. I can feel things. When things shift, I feel it. I started feeling a lot of things, around my body, and my intuition. My spirit guides were speaking to me in dreams. I had a dream of her with a red snake. One of my spirit guides with a red snake who threw it at me and her. We were together. So that was like a warning they were trying to give me about this girl is doing something. I disregarded the dream. Big mistake. They were trying to warn me. I was feeling the energies. I was getting the synchronicities and the signs, and I ignored them. Just so happens that I lost my job. I almost lost everything. And it wasn't until I went to get divination that they brought to my attention that she was working on me. She was working on my stability. She wanted me to lose my stability. She wanted basically for me to be in the street. She didn't care about the fact that, I have children to take care of, and that if mommy's in the street, my children don't have stability. They don't have anything. And she didn't care. She didn't care for me to lose everything, guys. I literally, when I found that out, it was just so devastating to me, because she was trying basically for me to lose everything and for me not to find a good man, because I didn't work out with my children's father, so I was single, and she didn't want me to end up meeting a good man. She didn't want me to end up meeting a better husband than the one she had, making more money than him, because she knew she was basically stuck where she was. So she's like, oh, there is no way you're passing me. There is no way you are going to be in a better situation than me or have a better life than me. Guys, she literally came for me. She came for my stability. And because I was not paying attention, I was just in a good state. I wasn't protecting myself. I wasn't on top of my spirituality. It hit me. It didn't hit me like she wanted, because I didn't end up losing, but I did end up losing my job, and it shook the crap out of me. Guys, you can see how strong this was, because it really shook me. It ain't hit me the way she wanted, but it shook me. And I was so depressed. I went through depression. I used to cry, anxiety, confusion. Guys, it was the most difficult time, and if it wasn't for a few friends of mine that I had that were my support systems and were there with me, and people, angels, I would say, that God puts in our lives in difficult times, and I ended up meeting these great people that came out of the blue, but they were my support system, and I didn't understand, where they came from, but God put them in my life. My spirits put them in my life, because they ended up being spiritual too, so that I won't break down. Dealing, with that breakup, I was dealing with this betrayal from her, from waking up and finally seeing the narcissist in my family, including healing from the childhood trauma of a narcissistic mother, that I'm also going to make a video about moving, in the future, explaining that. And guys, I was devastated. Confused. I would have brain fog. I felt lost, literally lost, because I knew we had our issues. We would argue, like all friends, like all relationships, but I never in my life would have suspected that she would betray me the way that she did. And the reason why I'm sharing this with you guys is because I want this testimony to help someone out there. If you have people around you that are giving you a weird vibe, a weird energy, don't let it escalate as much as I did. Don't wait as much as I waited to cut them out of your life. Stop choosing history and longevity over loyalty. Stop choosing people over your intuition. Because guys, when I tell you, I was being warned for the longest time. Don't be so good-hearted where it's clouding your judgment. And stop justifying people's actions when they're showing you over and over and over consistently that they are no good for you. Always go towards people that show you and prove to you with your actions and the vibes you get from these people that they love you. And I hope this story helps anybody out there, any woman, any man that is dealing with a friend like this, and you've been getting those dreams, those synchronicities, those signs to cut these people off, or to cut that person off. Don't doubt your intuition. Don't put loyalty to people that are not being loyal to you. When you feel that energy, when you feel that, cut them off, because these are people that are going to block your blessings. Guys, I don't know how many opportunities I've lost, how many chances I've lost, how many beautiful things I've missed, because I kept sticking around people that were evil eyeing me, throwing negative energy at me, robbing my energy and my ashe on the low. They were doing spiritual work on me to block me, to take my good energy, there was moments where my confidence was broken down. There was a time, no lie, I kid you not guys, that I lost myself. I didn't know who I was. I'm like, where's this happy, beautiful girl that was always, in such a positive mood? What happened to her? I didn't even know myself, because I kept trying to belittle my light so that they can feel comfortable, so that she can feel good, so that she won't be jealous of her husband. What was I thinking? Whatever issues that she was dealing with were personal, and I had nothing to do with the fact that she was insecure, that she had traumas and issues that she had to work on herself. And I hope that anybody out there who's feeling this way, who's doing the same things I did, wake up. Choose yourself and put yourself first, especially if you're young and you still have time. Don't let your life pass you by being loyal to people who want to destroy you. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys learn as much as you can and take this advice from the bottom of my heart. And I'm sharing this personal information with you guys to help you, so that you don't go through the same thing I went through and spend and waste so much time on people. Time is precious and it's valuable, and you should spend it on those that love you, that respect you, and that want to see you happy. I'll see you guys on the next video. Thank you so much for being here. Share, subscribe, comment. I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear your experiences. So tell me down below if you have been through something like this before. I will see you next time on my next video. Thank you so much. I appreciate you so much. I love you guys so much. Take care. Bye.